6:30 on February 24th, and I'm going to call the Village of North Hudson Park Board meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. Commissioner Flater.
Here.
Commissioner Helgeson.
Here.
Commissioner Ryder.
Here.
Commissioner Schwalbach.
Here.
Commissioner Strutt.
Here.
And Chair McGurran is here, and Matthew Howell, the Public Works Director, is here as well. So our first item is to review and approve the minutes from the Park Board meeting of January 20th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Helgeson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Strutt. Any comments, questions on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the January 20th, 2026 minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next item, comments from the floor. This is an opportunity for Village of North Hudson residents, property owners, and business owners to make the Park Committee aware of issues, topics, opportunities on or not on today's agenda. And we don't have anyone here from the public. We have a presentation that we'll have later. So we would encourage people, if they have anything they'd like us to be aware of, to feel free to come to the meetings and take the floor and share your information. But we'll close that item for today and go to item number 4, which is update from St. Croix Bike and Pedestrian Trail Coalition, discussion only. There isn't anyone available from the coalition to do an update today, so we're going to close that item. And next item, Park Commissioners update. So this is an opportunity for all of you on the Park Board to identify any issues or concerns related to the village parks that you want to raise to the Park Board, and we can add for further discussion on another agenda. Is there anything that is of interest or concern for discussion today? Hearing none, we'll close that item and go to item 6, which is the Park Superintendent, Public Works Director, and Park Board Chair update. So I'll turn it over to our Park Superintendent.
Not too much updates. Back to a few months ago when we were talking about Ferry's Landing, we have set up some meetings with Grace from the DNR to see about what grant opportunities and whatnot are available for Ferry's Landing. So that'll happen April 20th, I believe I seen. And then it's kind of a why we do something comment. Get a lot of comments that the walking trails are slippery. We do not salt them. We don't have equipment to salt them. We plow them, and then hopefully the sun melts them off. But we do not salt the trails, the walking trails in the village. We've gotten complaints when we have in the past that it wrecks dogs' feet and all sorts of stuff, and we just don't really have a good way to do it, so we plow them, and then people walk with caution when it's icy.
Can I ask a question about Ferry's Landing? Or, yeah, or just about if you're having those meetings. Do we have a storm shelter at any of our parks in North Hudson?
Like rated?
Like a community storm shelter, you know what I mean?
No.
Because I know some communities have that, and I was just thinking about in terms of.
We tried to get a grant for one from
Yeah.
FEMA, and it did not get accepted.
In for safety? Is
Yeah.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Pepperfest was moving that forward and was willing to do some of the funding, and it would be associated with the Pepperfest building on the land that they own just adjacent here to
see.
Village Hall, and that is the only, that would be the only storm shelter if it would have been approved. We don't have anything else. And we do have an emergency management plan for emergencies, and so that's the public safety, and I don't know, like, right off what the plan is for that. I believe that we have some, I think the Red Cross is part of our plan, but that's like a whole nother discussion, but yeah.
Got it.
Anything else, Nat?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Chair updates, I want to talk about the contact form. So we had a couple of different comments about that from Park Board Commissioners last week, and our fabulous village staff has been able to accomplish that since our last meeting. I think that was actually one of former Commissioner Martinez's last suggestions, is that we get that up on the website, and so it is. And if you go on to the How Do I section of the village website, or if you go on to the community section under Village Parks, both of those places have a comment form that can be completed on suggestion for your park. And our administrator, Gina Alberti, put that out on the village Facebook page, and we actually have had 2 feedback comments already, one of which is about the playground that we're talking about tonight. And then there's another comment requesting that we put in a little free library on Summers Landing Park. So now we've got a process for bringing information to the park board. The comments come right to my email, and what we haven't figured out is exactly what to do with them. So this is just as of the past end of last week, I think, that the comment form was put up, and now we have the 2 comments. So I think we'll probably add, like, under the regular agenda, under our where did I think it would fit? Park Commissioners updates. We could discuss, I can bring, the comments that come in, and we can discuss them and decide if we want to add them for discussion agenda items to a future agenda, or refer them to another committee or whatever, depending on what those are. So starting next month, I'll bring the 2 that we received, although obviously the one about the parks that were under discussion today. We'll have to consider that. I'm not exactly sure how, like I said, we don't really a process, but.
Can I make a quick
Yeah, please.
When it comes to that, if it's a maintenance issue, if somebody got rid of garbage and dumped it, or if somebody, please reach out via phone call, because those come to the Park Board Commissioners. So if there's like if it's not a request for something that you'd like to see, but, a picnic table's missing, or a bench is busted, that stuff, still reach out, because that's stuff we can take care of immediately.
Those go on the Public Works page, is what you're
Yep,
saying.
use
where you
those
have
for
them.
those non-emergency work requests. That's what those would be. These are more for like future plannings for the parks and things we'd like to add to them.
Thank you. Good clarification. So we'll add that to our regular agenda and I'll bring those forward. We also last time had a comment about donations. The park board had asked about the village being able to accept donations as a 501c3, and Gina responded, our administrator, that yes, they absolutely can do that. And they do that for police department and other departments. So they will do some thinking on how to make that information available to the community, that they can make donations to the parks. And that would be separate from the bench and memorial bench idea that we have already put forward and is already in process. Also, the Friends of the Park, Commissioner Flater did the presentation on Friends of the Park, and the park staff, or the village staff, came back and said that they are interested in that. And Matt, do you want to give the context of how that would be helpful? It's not for volunteers, but it's more for getting information or providing a resource for people to give input, or do you know how that was actually being framed?
I don't know. I guess we did talk about it a little bit, and as far as Friends of the Park, cleanup days, stuff like that, if the community wants to do that and be involved in that, that would be awesome, but I don't think that it's going to be something that the village staff has time to participate and coordinate.
Right.
So I think that's kind of, to my impression, kind of where it got left off. If volunteer groups want to get together and come and do different things, that's awesome, but I don't think it will be driven by village staff.
And so what we should probably do is bring that back, and I can forward some of that to you, John.
But Salt Arbor Day, We'll have to do something for Arbor Day, right around April.
We're gonna do, not on Arbor Day, but we're gonna do a tree planting event, correct?
Okay.
But are you asking, is that something that we need volunteers for?
Right. Like, could we, if there's people interested in volunteering and saying, hey, I want to be a part of this, can I come? Are we making that public so
Oh,
that
yeah, absolutely.
people can come from the community? You know, we do that in our city where the Public Works Department will dig up the holes, then we kind of push them all the trees in, make sure they're straight, and put it back in, or put the dirt back in. So that's more of that line of thinking, and then also like, if there is something about like maybe doing a monthly trash pickup or something like that, like, you know, small things that your staff can't have time because they got bigger fish to fry or bigger things going on.
So consistent to what Matt said, I've got Gina's email pulled up now, and so it would be like the Neighborhood Watch Group. It would be a separate organization
Right.
from the village that would interface, but not be part of the village structure.
And I think I've said if people were interested, they could reach out to me if they were, and I can combine a list and be, you know, communication with, you know, if there's something we can do, we can do it.
I think that sounds great.
Like if it's a monthly trash pickup or weekly or however much we want to do it. And I'm sure in this community, people, as they go to the parks and they see trash, they just pick it up anyway. You know, like, that's what I would do, you know, so, but.
I think we should put it back on the agenda and kind of maybe flesh out a little bit more of a plan after your last presentation and then the feedback from the village administrator. Sounds like it wouldn't be part of the park board, but it would be something that we could maybe put out there for people, even if it would be you, to pick up and put that kind of a organization together. So we'll put that back on. Other things I wanted to talk about, the new President Wecken is in communication with a candidate to replace Commissioner Martinez. So at our next meeting, I would suspect we'll probably have a new person. So then we'll be full strength and ready to go. And then Matt, you had given an update on the gardens last meeting. Is there anything new that you want to add to that?
Nope, kind of just waiting to see how many people sign up to see if we need to expand it or not. So once we get to the cutoff for when people can sign up, then we'll, if we need, we have the material to make more.
All right, so if people are interested in gardens, they should be doing what?
Go on to the village website and sign up.
There you go.
And then it is first come, first serve, because even though we can make more, we don't have unlimited space, so I would say that I wouldn't wait. If you're interested, do it right away. Because
Super.
once they fill up, we're done.
All right. So get the word out there.
And how big are the plots?
Roughly 4 by 7. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but somewhere around there.
Excellent. Okay, so I think that's all the updates that we have for agenda item 6. We'll go to item 7, presentation on options for new playground equipment at Chief Jansen Park. Discussion and possible recommendation. Turn it over to you.
All right, so we did have Megan come back. She was going to, so we had, budget was approved for 100,000. So, I know we had asked for a little bit more, but that's what came to. So I reached out to Playground Boss and, Megan for landscape structures for, updates to try to get these designs within our budget. So she's here to update on the design, and then I will show you guys the plan from the other company. So you're good to go.
And so are we going to be making a recommendation today, or are we just hearing from the different proposals?
We're going to be using, the contractors all use Sourcewell, so we don't have to go out for bid, so if you guys want to make a recommendation, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine too. If you want to see more options, whatever you guys.
Got it.
However you want to handle it.
Okay, well, let's see what you've got, Megan, and then we'll talk about it and see where we want to go next.
Great. I brought a couple, just one like large printout of that you can print on if you want, and then a couple printouts of the quote. Just so you can see it while we're talking about it. Okay, so I'm Megan Barrett. I'm with Gerber Leisure Products. We represent landscape structures, playground equipment here in Wisconsin. I know I've had the chance to meet all of you besides, well, I just met you today, but about this park. So based on the adjusted budget, we came up with a new plan. And so this is just a quick reminder about Gerber. So Gerber Leisure Products, we represent landscape structures in Wisconsin. We're a small team, but we cover the entire state. We have our own installation crew. We also subcontract with lots of other install crews throughout Wisconsin. And we've been representing landscape structures in Wisconsin since the 1970s. Landscape Structures is manufactured in Delano, Minnesota. It's 100%, they're 100% employee owned, which is a really neat fact about them. So employees are directly invested in the success of the company. Landscape Structures doesn't cut corners when it comes to product development and manufacturing. Everything is made to order for your playground and your site specifically. We're leaders in creative and innovative ways to bring play for all to communities around the world. And Landscape Structures really sets the standard for quality play value and durability in our industry. So that's a little bit about who, a little bit about what, where we're made in Minnesota. But our big thing is why, and our why is play shapes kids into better adults and communities into thriving environments. And we're passionate about the benefits of play and making sure that you guys can have that in your community. And I'm so thankful to have this job, and everyone at Gerber is. We just like kind of kick ourselves every day that we get to talk about spinners and slides for a living. So this is really fun. And then at the end of the day, quality really matters. So this is just a fun picture of a slide that's in your design compared to maybe what we grew up with. So kids are pretty lucky these days. And then just having a focus on the materials we use, steel reinforced cables. You'll see a lot of cables in this design, so those cables are really vandal resistant and very durable for kids to be using. As well as the samples that I handed out, I really like just having people be able to hold them, feel the materials, feel how heavy they are, which really just shows to the quality and durability. And then some of the things that make Gerber who we are is our promises that we like to make. So guaranteed response within 24 hours, certified playground safety inspectors within our team. Our quote is very much like what you see is what you're getting. We do pre-build meetings with our project manager through our professional installation. We do post-project walkthroughs with a safety check at the end. If your playground ever needs replacement parts, our lead time for that is only 2 to 3 weeks, which is sometimes hard to find in the industry. And then replacements are available for the life of the structure. So say you had a 30-year-old playground from Landscape Structures in your system right now, I would still be able to help you with all the parts for that. And it would still be just 2 to 3 weeks to get those. We do continuing education through Gerber, so we do sessions at our office in Mount Horeb, or we do continuing education online if anyone needs some sort of learning about trends in play spaces or maintenance. If your maintenance staff needed a education session about maintaining playgrounds, we can do all of that as well. And then really just having integrity through each step of the way, and being honest and being upfront with you through the whole process. these are just some examples of some projects we've done. Train Park in La Crosse, if you've been down there, that's a really fun one. If you need a little field trip, a couple hours away. And then something I was telling Matt also is just the renderings don't really do the equipment justice when it comes to playgrounds, because you don't see the kids playing on it actively. And just the scale of what you're seeing in the rendering is so much different than in real life. And so I've pointed Matt in the direction of going and visiting a playground that has the structure we're looking at today, which is just a huge way to like kind of understand what you're getting before you do it. Kind of like test driving a car, I like to say. You can even see, I just love that the kids on the rendering slide versus the kids actually on the slide. You can see the difference in the scale there, and then the kid on the climber, you can see the difference in the scale as well. There's another one. I really like to show this one because you don't have the trees in the background in the rendering, and when you can see it in real life, you can see how well the colors blend and how just alive it looks and part of the playscape. There's another one. We also have a 1-year warranty on our installation services. So if something were to come up within the first year, we'll come out and fix it for you. And then we're not in this business to sell replacement parts, so I know I said that. It's a 2 or 3 week. We can do them for the lifetime of the structure, but it's really, we don't want to be hearing from you after we install the playground. So we're not in the business to, but we're also here to help you maintain your playground and make sure it can live for the extent of its life. So after Matt told me the updated budget, we kind of talked about the plan, the plans we had originally done and the ways we could have scaled back on those. And really the best value for play with slides, a tall slide, a small slide, was the treetops that we had shown originally. And so I thought it would be fun, since I only have this option to talk about today, I have a video of it that I can pull up, if that's okay for time. It's only a few minutes long.
Because you can skirt.
Skirt? What does that mean?
Or you make a loud noise when you go down it. And I like the monkey bar. I'm 11 and I like the rings because I can do backflips and handstands, and I like the monkey bar.
So yeah, you can see there's just a ton of stuff to do on it. Everything is a little different, so that kids can kind of graduate with the playground as they grow up in the neighborhood. You'll notice some of those climbers go really tall, some go sideways, some you can go through and on top of. We like to say it's very unscripted, so there's not one way to play on it, and kids can kind of make it their own with how they're feeling that day. And I'll go through some more of the components in the following slides, but we also, so within this budget, this is with you guys keeping your existing swings that are out there right now. So what's in this picture is what would be part of phase 1 within that budget. Plus swings that we didn't render because they're not from our manufacturer, but they would be right where this, they're right where this block is. And then the other thing we have right now is our Revy wheel spinner. So a few kids can sit on it, and then you can spin it yourself from the center, or you can spin it from the outside. You can see there's handles on the outside. Those are also nice if kids want to like grab onto the back and spin instead of hold on to the center wheel. So right there you can see there's lots of kids on it. And so that's called our Revy wheel. And then here is the overall layout that we like to show, just so you can kind of get a bearing of the site. So that's the existing footprint that you see in the border. And then we did reorient since the first time we designed this space. We did rotate the structure a little bit to fit better with the existing swings, because they are a little bit taller than the swings we had originally shown. So that's what it would look like. And then we'll talk just a little bit more about this treetop structure. So this is a pretty good angle. This is kind of where kids can come on within those first two decks. There's a belting access up to the small slide, which is easier, a little bit easier of a climber for kids that aren't ready for the tall climbers yet. The structure is compliant for ages 5 to 12. But one thing I really like about it is that it does have a small slide and a tall slide, so you kind of have those options for kids along that age range of 5 to 12. And then alongside the belt climber, there's another climber that kids can kind of basically walk sideways on. A term we use really often in playgrounds is parallel play, so making sure kids have a chance to play alongside each other, kind of regardless of their ability and what they're ready for. So you have someone on the high wire next to it, and running, racing, doing whatever you can, and then even next to that you have someone on the overhead event. And then to the left you have kids on the middle of the structure playing how they want to. There's also perforated animal footprints in the belting, which is really fun for imaginative play. You can feel inside of them. It's very cool. It also helps with drainage if it gets wet. And then over here we have that more challenging climber for those older kids, but then also utilizing underneath that for a balancing play. We have a ring-a-bell panel, so 2 little chimes that kids can play with over here, and then a leaf panel where you can spin the pieces. You saw the girl on the rings in the video, so a little bit of motion play, but still that overhead strength to work on. And then this more challenging climber goes up to our 8-foot slide. Super fun alpine slide, we call it. I'll have more views of that. And then one thing I like to say about this vine climber is what it's called, is that there's 2 pods for kids to kind of take a rest on if they need to, knowing that it's more of a challenging climber for those older kids. If they want to take a break while they're halfway up, they can sit and stand on there. And then continue on or go back down depending on what they're comfortable with. And then there's integrated shade as well on the structure, and I brought some samples of our shade fabric as well. So here's some more in-person images. You can see this is right off that belting climber. There's that center climber for the kids to sit on. So these wiggle a little bit, which is just a really fun proprioceptive input for the kids. To kind of, as they move across it, to balance their own body as they figure out how they want to climb on it. They can go up and down, up the middle, across, try to get to one climber to another without touching the ground. So there's just so many different ways to play on it. And then there's a view of the structure as a whole in real life. You can see that double slide for the little kids. I love this view because it's kind of a top-down image of what all is going on in the middle. Over here, you can kind of see there's a panel that kids can climb up onto off some pod steppers. There's actually marbles integrated in there, so kids can play with those with the sunlight coming through. A little bit of sensory play in there. But again, kids will like sit on that deck and just play with the marbles for a few minutes and then go down the slide, or they can play with it from the outside of the structure too. You can see that seat that kids can sit on too pretty well in this picture. There's our alpine slide. So it's really wide, really swooshy, I like to say. You just get a really nice thrill. It drops you from a tall height into like just a nice curve, and slows you down right at the end. And then we have our leaf climber going up, so you have some of that imaginative play of the natural theme. There's another view of that vine climber with our swiggle knots underneath. So again, these pod steppers, kids can balance across just the bottom, or they can balance over to the third one and try to go up. So again, there's no really one way to play on it, and you can really grow with it as you get more confident in playing with that component. And then this climber I love because you can see in this picture to the right, there's someone climbing on top of it, and there's also someone climbing through it. So again, there's not one way to play on it. Kids can kind of just do how they're feeling that day. And then there's an image of the overhead. And then linked off the treetops, we have a couple of pod steppers that go to our jig-jag climber. You guys probably think I'm ridiculous with these names of these components, but the jig-jag climber has a fire pole coming off of it. And so that's a totally different way that kids can use their body to slide down in a way. So it's not a slide, but you get that like thrill of rush of going down, but you're using your upper body. You're really holding on. A lot of kids love to climb up it as an extra challenge. And so that was a fun way to just add some play onto the treetops for something a little more challenging. And then just for some options to add on, I know your budget was around 100, so I wanted to just give some options from here of what you could add if you want to, as well as just talking about the 2 to 5 structure we had originally shown. And so this is just showing what it would look like to have new swings in there, so they fit. Basically what we would add is that first phase would allow for enough room for 3 more bays of swings in the future. And then another spinner, and then a 2 to 5 structure. So this is phase 1, these 2 things, and the jig-jag. And then this would be either part of phase 2, I'll get to that next, but this is that 2 to 5 structure that we had originally shown. So if you wanted to replace your swings with phase 1 to do a 3-bay, we have 3 belt swings, which is like your traditional seat. We have our molded bucket seat, which is for people that need a little bit of extra trunk support. The buckle, you get buckled in. It's really easy to unlatch and latch, but it's also very secure. And then we have 2 of the tot seats. And that's my daughter. A few years ago. Okay, so that was the total if you were to add those on. If you were to keep your existing swings but add on a curve spinner and one of those ground level play panels that had that seek and find play we had talked about, but as a quick reminder, basically these medallions are all, these footprints, animal tracks, are all hidden throughout the playground. They're riveted to the posts so that kids can go run and try to find them. It's a good learning opportunity for kids to learn about different animals. We can also customize this like to something native to Hudson, or we had talked about maybe doing like a hot air balloon one if we wanted to eventually. It adds about maybe $1,200 to customize it. So that's just one thing to consider, but this is a standard option. And then our curve spinner is just a fast multi-person spinner that you stand on versus sitting compared to the other spinner. But this would be in addition to that. So kind of the best of both worlds, you get both kinds of spinners. And then an additional alternate option, just so you guys know that there's other options out there. So this is a bobble rider. It's like a 2-person seesaw. Super fun. These springs are extremely durable. This could replace where this spinner was in the plan, and they're pretty comparable in cost. And then this spinner is called our topsy-turvy, and that one is basically the same cost as the Revy wheel. And I like it because you can sit and stand on it, and it kind of has the cables that you can pull. You can see this little girl's not even touching the bottom. There's a lot of different ways to play on that one. And so I bring that up because you could have, there's a lot of different options. But it's kind of like you could get a spinner with standing and sitting in one spinner, and then you could get a seesaw type play additionally for around the same cost as what this was, so around $98. And we have a lot of other options too, but I felt like that with the space they take up and the cost in mind, those are good ones to consider.
Can we get a copy of your PowerPoint?
Yeah, yep,
I think that would be helpful, then we can reference that.
for sure. And then when it comes to adding in a 2 to 5-year-old structure in the future, as funds allow, this was kind of in that back corner area where the fitness equipment is right now. You don't need to go with this 2 to 5 structure that we had shown. I think this one would add about 40 to 50,000. We can always do something a little bit smaller. We can do, I brought a couple catalogs, but there's a whole section on age-appropriate play for 2 to 5-year-olds. This one is just kind of the coordinating 2 to 5 structure to the treetops, which is the 5 to 12 structure, with just the theme and the shade and everything. But it does not necessarily need to be that, so I like to make sure you know that as well. And then I brought our color samples. Colors are so much fun to talk about. I know you guys want to go more natural with the playground, so we can have a lot of fun with colors. We can pull up the colors right in front of you on our rendering system and basically talk about what you'd like to see from there. And then there was another video about, we have a junior play team at Landscape Structures that basically a school in Minnesota did their own playground project, and Landscape Structures was able to meet quite a few of these kids with special needs. And so they basically brought them on into our product development team to test out equipment as they're making new innovations. And it's a really cool video. So when you guys get this link, you can watch it because it's amazing.
Are any of those inclusive play items in the proposal that you provided?
Yeah. Yep. So the swing, first of all, the molded bucket swing is inclusive. And then the Revy wheel is really great because it's at transfer height. So when we talk about transfer height, I'll get you an image quick. If a child in a wheelchair is coming into the playground, they can transfer out of their wheelchair, or they can be transferred out of their wheelchair without needing to be like lifted up a crazy amount or lifted down a crazy amount, which can be really strenuous on their caregiver or themselves if they can transfer themselves out. Same with our topsy-turvy. So this is it right at that height where a wheelchair user would be able to transfer out. And I like having an option for a seated spinner for that reason, so that if a child has like lower mobility, then they can sit on the spinner and be pushed, or in the Revy wheel situation, they can help push it themselves too. We have an inclusive play specialist at Landscape Structures who is, she has spina bifida, and she was a Paralympic athlete. So she's in a wheelchair, but she's able to transfer herself out, and we have a lot of videos on YouTube and stuff of her using the equipment and how she can transfer out, which is super cool to see. But I've seen her use the bobble rider too. She can just transfer right out of her wheelchair and ride on the bobble rider like anyone else. And then part of that treetops with that continuous access up to that small slide. So when we say continuous access, it means you can crawl up to that slide technically on that belting. Whereas with some of these climbers, you have to really climb to get up to the top. So that continuous access was purposefully put there for accessibility. So if someone, again, even if you're 5 and you're not doing the challenging climbers yet, or if you have lower mobility, then you can use that access point to get to a slide. And some of that sensory play and just be on the structure with your friends. And then same with that 2 to 5 structure, you can see the transfer module here is where they would get out of their wheelchair and then they can scoot up and go down the slide here. The 2 to 5 structure doesn't have any cables or belting on it, just because things for 2 to 5-year-olds are a lot more stable, so not as much wiggle and movement for those kids. And then also on the treetops, some of those ground level play panels that I had shown were intentionally designed at ground level so that if someone can't go on the structure for some reason, they have something to play with on the playground too. So this ring about panel, the leaf panel, one other thing I like to add is that getting up to this top slide, so there's this vine climber, and then there's also a ladder that goes up this side and then up through here. And so there's 2 different ways to get up to that tall deck, which is an important thing to note because the ladder is going to be much easier for kids that are maybe not old enough or ready for the taller climber. You can kind of see it a little better over in this picture. But that ladder basically continues all the way up to that top slide.
Got it.
And that's all I have.
Any questions for Megan?
So if the goal was to make it more inclusive, would we have to change the floor of it to a rubber or something, or can you still have the mulch? Because I think, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have mulch there, right?
It's sand now and we'd switch it to mulch. The playground approved mulch.
Okay.
Yep.
So
So
that'd have to be a major change in that because I mean, I'm just envisioning wheelchairs through mulch isn't gonna.
it's
as
definitely
easy.
not ideal. So engineered wood fiber is technically ADA compliant. And it's much better than sand. So there's a huge upgrade with that, for sure. I feel like I can hardly walk in sand, let alone someone try to wheel their wheelchair through that, or like a walker or something. But the best option is poured-in-place rubber or artificial turf, which are like unitary surfacing options. You can add sections of rubber into wood chips, so we do that all the time. We've added like sections to a transfer module, or like in this case, we could add rubber to just under the revvy wheel or to the accessible swings, so that people have access to that without having to like trudge through wood chips. And so that can always be added on later too. It doesn't need to be added right away.
Other questions? Hearing none, thank you, Megan. I have a question, Matt. The budget that the board had approved was 137.8, I think? When we voted in November?
Let's I don't have,
137.7,
I don't have any,
137.7.
I know there's changes and updates. I don't have any knowledge other than the figure I spit out, so, I guess, let me look into it and get an
Okay,
answer.
yeah,
There's been so many changes to different things that I couldn't tell you if it's 137 or 100. The last time I thought I looked, we were right at that 100.
yeah.
Yeah, and you guys will be doing the wood chips and the excavation and the removal
Yeah.
of the equipment and stuff like that too. So our quote is really just for the equipment and the install.
And when do you, like, how long does it take once we make a decision to get it in? Like, when do we need to decide by in order to get the season going for this
Sure.
next year?
Yeah, so we, our install calendar is first come, first serve, so we really can't schedule an installation until we have an order. But once we get the order in or the signed paperwork, then we basically try to get you in as soon as we can on our install calendar. We have a lot of different crews. And I think Matt said he was hoping for maybe like June.
June would work because we have to do a bunch of prep work, a bunch of sub-base work
Yeah.
and stuff, so I don't think we'd be ready anytime before June.
So when would we need to make a decision by? When does the park board need to make, because we'd have to recommend it to the board and then the board would vote, so that would be like a month right there. So in order for us to stay on track for June, when does the park board would need to decide by?
April.
Yeah, so the manufacturing lead time is like 5 to 6 weeks right now. So, I'm just going back from like June 1st. Probably,
Board would have to approve it.
yeah,
May.
early April to get an order in.
Okay, so that means like, no.
Next month.
Now we're in March meeting.
Yep, we have to do it March. To get it to the board for April. Okay.
Do it.
All right, I'm not a playground expert, but there's two different options.
Our second presenter is.
We got Matt Hall, Public Works Director. So we kind of got two options here. One being completely customized to our area and one being like going to a big box store. So our quotes with this, don't look at the prices on here because we have Sourcewell pricing, government pricing, so it's different. But this is the one, this is from Playground Boss that they offer in the 5 to 13 play range. So it's got the ropes and a bunch of the stuff on it. There's another view of it. And that's the view from the top. I would invite you guys to all go to Playground Boss and look at the chain of command playground. And if that,
That's what it's called, the chain of command playground.
yep, this is kind of their best option within our budget that was sent over to me. And then I gave Sarah the quote that she can pass down for everybody to see. You can ask me some questions, but anything honestly is going to be on their website. This is what I've got from their sales team with a quote, so I don't really have much knowledge other than that right there.
Thank you for searching that out, Matt, and presenting it.
It'd be nice if they would show up and do it.
I was-
I don't know. how to
Duly
sell.
noted.
Yes,
That, you
they
know,
noted.
About just looking at Gerber products, right? One of the things that stands out to me is the quality and the replacement, the ability, you know, like for the lifetime of the set. Do you know anything about replacement if things were to break on that?
On this one,
Yeah.
I reached out to them a couple times. That's what they got back to me with. I don't have much information on it, really. I think it's like every other park that you see in the Tri-County area, just kind of a general design for that age group.
And our
But there's no
other-
customizations to it. It comes how it is. Only thing you can change is some colors.
Sure.
In our other parks, what, do you know what we've used in the past?
Whatever the developer bought that was cheap. That's why we're replacing all the stuff. It's
Okay.
very low quality equipment. Yep.
The email that we got through our new system, I'll just say because it's timely right now, the things that they were asking about was, they have 2 children, 8 and 11, and what they would like would be, they like the swings and the basketball there. They'd like to see a zip line, a circle or tire swing, lower monkey bars, because those things aren't really monkey bars at all, larger slides, and possibly change sand to wood chips. So, right, I think pretty much in line, other than the zip line, with what we're looking at today.
And I did look into the zip line because there's multiple people, somebody even reached out and said that they would like to maybe donate some things, money, but boy, is that not what you think to build a zip line. It's not put it between 2 trees and kids rip down it. You gotta have all sorts of things. There's wonderful idea, I'd love it, but our budget would have to triple. Would you not agree?
The big thing about the zip line is just how much space it takes up. So it's like the excavation and wood chips are a big part of that cost. But for like one bay, it's, I think, for our smallest size, which is 34 feet in length, is like 14 or 15,000, not installed.
Not installed.
It's good to know.
But it is very, 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 very popular and very durable.
Very fun.
So I guess the recommendation tonight would be, which you guys can make one, you don't have to, maybe to identify a supplier that we'd work with to start ironing it out. We're working with ones that's like Sourcewell, so it's a buyer's group, all the government and the people put in their money, you know, what they'll pay, and then they say, yep, we can sell you these, so we don't have to go for the RFP process.
So the
RFP process has already been done by
Yeah.
the buying groups.
So we can make a recommendation tonight to go with either Gerber or Playground Boss. Does someone want to make a motion?
I move that we accept the bid from Gerber Leisure Products.
Is there a second?
We accept the bid.
Use Gerber Playground Products as the bid.
Yes.
I would second that.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Helgeson, a second from Commissioner Flater. Any discussion?
Yes. When we initiated this discussion, I thought we had been talking also about some kind of a cost-sharing arrangement with the vendor. Was I wrong?
Nope, you weren't wrong. That was actually one of the proposal, or one of the things that we looked at first, which was like they said they would contribute 50%, and Matt looked into that vendor, and they just doubled their price. It was, it wasn't really cost sharing, it was cost increase, and made it look like we got a coupon deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I was, guess it's like saying to ignore the prices up there. So their prices are there, but then the contract price, the government price through Sourcewell has been pre-negotiated. So it's just their price online is that much. In reality, the price that we pay is the price on the bid.
Got it.
Good question. Any other questions or comments?
Just curious, through census, do we know what age group is around that neighborhood? Have we identified what kids' ages are? To know whether or not the 5 through 12 versus the 2 through 5 is more appropriate?
So the 2 through 5 is what we have right now. And so the request was to expand the age,
Okay.
so that middle-aged younger kids.
So that older level, okay, so that was,
Yeah,
the tweens, almost,
yeah, right.
And
yeah.
from a perspective from somebody who sees them playing on it every day, what we're lacking is a place for the kids who have can ride their bike, and the ones who have a little bit of independence. There's nothing for them to do at the parks because it's all toddler age activity. So overwhelming amount of people were looking for something in that kind of in between middle school and, early elementary.
7 to 11.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments?
I'm I'm thinking about access, children in the village. Is it accessible, like by bike?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay,
And there's actually sidewalks that's the one part of town where there's actually sidewalks.
okay. Good.
Walking trail around the whole perimeter, bathrooms there. So
Oh,
that's,
good.
that's an
Okay.
ideal location to have it like a kind of destination park for the village, because it's one of our 2 parks that has bathrooms, that people don't have to go into the woods or use the yard.
That's nice.
Yes, yes. We keep it hygienic there. And what I would see is we still need more of a refined discussion, regardless of how this vote goes, on the specifics for the equipment, because we have a lot of options. And so I think after we figure this out, we're gonna have to maybe do even like a subcommittee recommendation to the park board next month, so that we can actually move this forward. Because I think it'd be really hard to have a discussion about each add-on, but anyway, that's, next step. So, are we ready to vote, or other comments or questions? So the motion is to accept Gerber as the vendor for the playground equipment on Chief Jansen Park. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. So we'll be working with, we'll recommend to the village board to work with Gerber. And so I think what we need to do next time, and maybe there's, I'm thinking this through as I'm talking out loud, so tell me what you guys think. Since we'll have the Gerber presentation online, we can go in and look at the add-ons and take a look at those costs. And if everyone can come back with the items that they think are must-haves or nice-to-haves, and then we can see where we've got some alignment and hopefully make some final decisions on what we want to move to the board when we meet in March.
And then maybe color too, if people want to drive up there
colors
and
too.
look.
Colors too.
Color, because I couldn't tell you the difference in green and blue.
Okay, so, and the colors. So when you're looking at the add-ons in the options, look at colors as well. And I think I don't know how we actually decided it, but we did talk about having them be more natural colors, the greens and the browns. Does that sound like a good plan? Okay, and also make sure and share it with people, that we'll get that posted, that video posted, so other people can take a look at it and tell us what they think. And maybe we can ask Gina to put it up on the village website as well, so that, on the Facebook page, so that we can get a little bit more traction or foot traffic on that. Okay, how exciting. And you'll talk with Gina about the budget part.
I will have you an answer on that tomorrow, because I would assume we want to get the best park we can. for
Right,
what was
right.
budgeted.
I'm sure that's what we approved. Okay, possible avenues for community input and engagement. We actually already discussed this. We'll put this on next month's agenda to talk more about the Friends of the Park. Does that sound good? So that's on for next month again. Oh, yes, okay, recommendations. So it's just about 7:30, and I'm cognizant that we have a later meeting, and it's later right now. So what I'm going to do for this next agenda item is hand out something for you to take and consider between this meeting and the next meeting. And I'm sorry this isn't great printing, because I printed it at home. What we have here is the Village of North Hudson's vision that we just passed in the comprehensive plan. And then also, that's in the italics, then in the dark print is the village current outdoor park and recreation vision. And then under that, so that's a vision for our current outdoor park and recreation plan, which has pretty much been not touched at least for 8 years. So it's probably could use a little tuning up. And to help us tune that up, I looked at the visions for some of our neighboring communities' outdoor recreation plan and put those underneath. And I bolded some of the things, some of the ideas or the concepts that aren't currently in our vision. So if for homework, you can take that and see if there's concepts or ideas that you think should be brought into our vision, or concepts or ideas that you think are time to retire out of our vision, so that we can start updating the outdoor recreation plan by starting with our vision. Then I think the next thing we would do would be to look at the community input that we got through the comprehensive plan process. There was a survey as well as a community visioning session that had input for the parks. We can take a look at that input. Then the next thing would be to go through our park walkthrough again and the priorities that we have for the existing amenities in each park and what we want for future, and then set our 5-year goals. So this is probably going to take us several meetings to get through, and maybe even till this fall. So it may be a while.
And are those documents within the village database? I mean, if I were to look there?
It's posted. Yep, there. Yeah, I don't know if the comprehensive plan is posted yet, but yes, it would be. It would be at the board meeting for the plan commission and the board meeting. And I'll ask Gina to post it, because we probably should get it posted. So yes.
Do you have the attachments that Mary sent out for
Yes.
this meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send
That's
it, I'll
good
send
part
the
of it,
comp
yeah.
plan to the full comp plan, because that's where the community vision and the survey results are there. So we'll take this in chunks, because it's kind of a big project. So we'll chunk it out and get it done by this fall, I think. Any questions, comments?
Yes.
Yes.
What would you like us to do?
Yes, I would like you to take that vision
Yeah.
and look at the current vision,
Our
our current version,
okay.
our current vision, and then look for the concepts that you like in there or things that can come out of there. And if there's any things that you see from other communities that you go, that should be part of our vision, or just something that comes into your mind that should be part of our vision.
Gotcha.
Bring that in. Because I think if we start with a vision, it'll help us as we go through. Any other questions? So we'll talk about it again at the next meeting. And I'm going to move on to the next item if there's nothing further. Update on the joint meeting with the City of Hudson Park Board. So the Hudson Park Board passed a resolution to have a joint meeting with us, and that goes to their finance. They report to the Finance Committee on March 2nd. And then we were looking towards setting something up at the end of March or April, but I know that the Hudson Park Board Chair has got some personal issues that may make that not a great timeline, so we'll have an update about that. But hopefully we still will be getting together with them, and if we're not able to do that because of those health concerns or other issues, what we may do is just ask the county to come and talk at a future meeting about the county 5-year outdoor recreation plan, and then we can use that information, even if we can't have that meeting jointly with Hudson. So we'll see we'll see where that goes. I'll do an update, and if we can't get something on the schedule here before the middle of summer, we'll see if we can get the county to come and talk with us. Okay, so future agenda would be the public comments that we're update from St. Croix Bike and Pedestrian Trail Coalition, decision on the playground equipment, the discussion on setting up a separate community input, Friends of the Park, vision for the outdoor rec plan, update on the City of Hudson Park Board meeting. Anything else? Okay,
Mary,
yes.
Could we just snapshot real quick again, in terms of the decision-making on the playground, what you would like to request from each of the
Yep.
us commissioners
Yes,
between meetings here?
That you review the PowerPoint
Yep.
that we have from Gerber, that'll be posted from Gerber, and identify the concept that you prefer and the add-ons, and your like priority add-on.
And then the colors.
Colors,
Can I
thank you.
ask a quick
Colors.
question?
Yes,
If it
please.
is 137, do you want me to work with Megan on the 3 to 5 structure or additional add-ons? Or is that what you're going to decide at that next meeting?
I think we should decide at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Where's the nearest facility that has your equipment that we could, a park?
Yeah.
Send you-
So we have, I sent, Matt a site, it's Valley Creek Park in Woodbury,
Yeah.
has the same structure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and so that's a really good one to go to. It's connected to another larger like tower structure.
Yeah.
But they have a little 2 to 5 structure there, they have our swings, they have that alternate spinner I had shown. And so that's the city of Woodbury.
Got it.
And their landscape structures is sprinkled all over Woodbury and, over there. We have, the town of Hudson has their stuff from 1995, 1994.
And it's
And it's still there, yep. No replacement parts.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's a daycare in Hudson that has our stuff, but you can't really go visit it because the daycare is,
So Valley Creek Park in Woodbury is probably your best bet to, if you want to see it in real life.
as far as the treetops, like what we're showing for sure. Otherwise, I have like a bunch of sites I can send you to too that have other alternate equipment. Yep.
All right.
Can I take this with me?
Yes, keep the catalogs. I'll take the samples, well, if you want to keep the color samples for like a month to talk about colors, you can.
Does anyone want to be the holder of color samples? You better take the color samples
Yeah,
back.
take
Otherwise, there's the color chart in the catalog, but it's also in my proposal, so,
But
Um,
if you send out the PowerPoint, you had the colors on there, right?
yep.
So,
Yeah, I can send
I'll look at it through
some,
that.
so the treetops have been installed, we've done a few of these in Wisconsin, but they're all, closer to Madison, Milwaukee area.
day trip.
But we have a lot, yeah, so if you're ever
Be
in
my
Madison
guest.
or Milwaukee. So that was kind of my territory for 6 years, and now I've migrated over here because, we live in Hudson now. But, so I have that side of the state memorized, basically, on where to send you. But Woodbury's good enough. And then, but there's been a lot of treetops throughout the United States in a lot of different color schemes, so I can send you different ways people have done it before to kind of give you inspiration. Oh, I really like that one, or I like it more green, or I like it more brown. So that's fun to look at too. John, I think you mentioned that, didn't they install one in Cottage Grove recently?
The what?
Don't you live in Cottage Grove?
No, I work in Cottage Grove.
You work in Cottage
Live in
Grove.
here.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I thought you mentioned they installed something like this in Cottage Grove.
Well, so the Parks and Rec department's within the arena that I work in. So I see
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff.
Okay,
But I don't know if it's your company.
this
that-
exact one, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay, are we set for our assignments? Anything else? Okay, I am going to adjourn this meeting at 7:37.
Close enough.
All right, and we didn't even take a vote, it's just adjourned.